All right, my friends, J.R. Dukes with you. Appreciate you joining me today. We have an important news story we have to get to right away. You may or may not be familiar with one of the House representatives. She's actually very popular, especially with Republicans. Her name is Lauren Boebert. You may or may not be aware, if you are a regular follower of mine, you have seen the following diagram on your screen. And we have talked at length about the problem going on right now in the House of Representatives. As you may know, the current Speaker of the House is Mike Johnson. The problem is, friends, I'm not sure how long that is going to continue. Let's take a quick trip down memory lane, and then I'm going to get right into the serious health scare that this representative is undergoing right now as I speak. All right, remember that last year there was Speaker Kevin McCarthy. He was ousted in essentially a coup by Matt Gaetz. The Republicans have this weird scheme going on right now that essentially one person, it just takes one of the Republican representatives in the House to say, hey, I want to basically take a no confidence vote on the Speaker. If and when that happens, they have to do what they just did with Kevin McCarthy, and they have to take a vote. And that's what they did. And of course, McCarthy was ousted. Now, the problem with this is that you have to understand human nature. Human nature is such that if and when you have something like this happen to your friends, you're not going to stick around Congress. And that is exactly what Kevin McCarthy did. He resigned, and he is no longer a representative. Well, as you are aware, they elected now Speaker Mike Johnson to this role. However, the Republicans, unfortunately, were goaded into getting rid of George Santos. Remember him, the New York representative that has a list of legal problems right now as I speak. However, he has not been convicted of anything, not one thing. That is absolutely correct. He is the first representative ever voted out of the House without first having been convicted of a crime or at least having engaged in rebellion. And I'm talking about the United States Civil War back in the 1860s. So George Santos at that point was booted, and you are having this erosion of the very slim majority that the House of Representatives, specifically the Republicans, are operating under and frankly control the House under. So goodbye, George Santos. Recently, we've discussed how Ken Buck from Colorado has resigned. He is, in my opinion, one of these rhinos, and he does not like the way things are going, and he's out of there. Additionally, you had Mike Gallagher resign from the House, and his resignation becomes effective April 19th. This guy, in my opinion, is another rhino. He could have went ahead and resigned sooner, like right now today, and there would have been time under state law there where his seat is based. He could have went ahead and said, I resign now. That would have allowed a special election, and his seat could have been replaced by a Republican. But for whatever reason, he has decided not to do that. So if you can believe this, there is a one-seat majority in the U.S. House of Representatives effective on April 19th. And just to quickly remind you, Republican Bowman, who is a Democrat, pulled the fire alarm in the House of Representatives to stop a vote on something that he didn't like. Something was not going his way. He pulled this alarm, and he was simply censured by the House. He was not removed by the Democrats. So in other words, the Democrats are experts, folks, at baiting the Republicans into getting rid of their members. They're saying, these guys got to go, specifically George Santos, and the Republicans, unfortunately, fell for that trick. Do they offer the same type of sincere integrity and making sure that everybody is operating above board? No, they do not, as evidenced by Republican Bowman. He is still there, and his penalty for pulling the fire alarm, like I said, is censure, and essentially he paid a small fine. I believe it was some type of misdemeanor. Just on another quick note, remember sitting Senator Bob Menendez out of New Jersey, who is under federal indictment, many counts of everything from treason to oath of office type of issues, and he is still a sitting Democratic senator in the Senate. So add all this together, and right before they broke at the House of Representatives for their 2-week Easter vacation, guess what? U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who I would refer to as MTG, of Georgia, filed a motion essentially doing what Matt Gaetz did back last year, calling for the resignation of Speaker Johnson. Now, she has not performed some type of technicality that will essentially make it official where they have to go through the same process, but she has promised to do so. At least she has threatened to do so, and we'll have to see how that turns out. Now, remember, one vote splits at this point, effective April 19th, the ability of the Republican Party to control the House. If it wasn't for that, the Democrats would control the House, the Senate, and of course the presidency under President Joe Biden. Well, we have a major twist today. Introducing Lauren Boebert, representative from Colorado. I'm sure you have seen her before. She is a very popular Republican senator, and she's very conservative. There's her picture on your screen. This is an article coming to us from the New York Post. Republican Lauren Boebert has emergency surgery, diagnosed with a rare disorder during campaign. This is obviously today. Let me go ahead and let's read a little bit of this. Colorado Representative Lauren Boebert underwent surgery, emergency surgery, to remove a blood clot that was diagnosed. She has been diagnosed with something called May-Thurner syndrome, she announced Tuesday evening. The Republican Congresswoman, 37, was admitted to UCH, or I should just say UC Health Medical Center of the Rockies in Loveland, after she experienced swelling in her upper left leg. Apparently, this particular condition, this particular disease affects the left leg for whatever reason and is prevalent, especially for people that are, number one, female, and number two, do a lot of traveling. It just seems that this age group is the age group this particular disease targets. After undergoing a CT scan, doctors found an acute blood clot and diagnosed her with this May-Thurner syndrome, which is a rare condition that disrupts blood flow. A statement on Facebook from her campaign read, and here's another picture of the representative on the Capitol steps. Doctors scheduled and performed surgery on Boebert on Tuesday morning to remove the blood clot and added a stent to address her symptoms. So it appears that she's doing all right at this time. Continuing on, May-Thurner syndrome is a rare vascular condition in which an artery compresses the left iliac vein in the pelvis, blocking off blood flow from the leg to the heart, according to UPMC. Surgery is performed on some patients to add a stent, and of course a stent is a small tube of metal mesh to restore blood flow by opening up the blocked vein. I'm sure many of us have parents and other relatives that have had stents put in their veins or their arteries or whatnot. In some cases, patients may not have symptoms, but over time could develop swelling, venous ulcers, and blood clots that could lead to life-threatening problems, including strokes and heart attacks. Folks, this is a very, very serious condition. Make no mistake about it. And we have another picture of the representative right here. She's obviously a very attractive woman, and she is held in high regards in her district and among her peers. The cause of Boebert's diagnosis is unknown, but her campaign says dehydration, travel, and extended periods of sitting were identified as potential factors. Women between the ages of 20 and 45 who have given birth are also more likely to have this syndrome. Boebert thanked her medical staff and said she was looking forward to making a full recovery and getting back to Congress to continue fighting for Colorado. I want to thank Dr. Rebecca Bade and the entire team at UC Health Medical Center of the Rockies for their great care and providing helpful insight on my recent diagnosis, Boebert added. We successfully performed surgery on the Congresswoman this morning and expect her to make a full recovery, said Blade at the hospital at UC Health. No timeline has been set for Boebert's return to Washington, D.C. Her hospitalization comes as she vies for Colorado's 4th district seat in an upcoming November election. They have a new district that has been drawn as what they're referring to right there, and she's expected to win the new district as it has newly been redrawn, as they do from time to time. So, folks, the bottom line here, this, as I have been saying for quite some time, is extremely concerning. When they let George Santos go from the House, I was on this very program telling each and every one of you this was a mistake. Unequivocally, this could come back and bite the Republicans. They already at that time had a very slim majority. I think at the time it was only 4 or 5 votes they could afford to lose in order to pass anything. And unlike the Democrats, who are generally united, they may fight among themselves, but when it comes time to vote, they vote as a single unit because they know that is the best way for them to pass their agenda. They understand they may not get everything they want, but they know they're on the road that is best suited to get them to the destination they're trying to get to. Unlike Republicans, who think that they have to have everything. Now, listen, I like Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG. I like her generally speaking, but like Matt Gaetz, these individuals, these representatives need to understand the Republicans have a very slim, the ever so slim majority now of only 1 representative, and you cannot have everything you want. Speaker Johnson is not happy with the bill or the spending budget they just passed, but he had no choice. You have to give, you have to take. You simply cannot have the government stop operating in perpetuity. You have to make compromise and find common ground, a solution, and govern. It's really just that simple. But I am extremely fearful that if, for example, this Congresswoman cannot make it back to Congress for whatever reason, the Republicans, frankly, can lose their majority in the House, and we could be looking at a Speaker Hakeem Jeffries. That should scare each and every one of us. But I'm telling you, my spider sense is tingling. I am so fearful that there is trouble on the horizon. I sincerely hope I'm wrong, but I just have this sneaky suspicion that there is more to come, and we'll just have to stay on top of it and monitor it. Hey, if you agree, disagree, put in the comments below. Any questions, be sure to ask me. If you're still with me, hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe, like. My name's J.R. Dukes. Appreciate you being with me. I always say keep that mind free. Never give up, my friends. And until next time, I am J.R. Dukes.